Well, it's official. We have a Lobo casting, and oh my god, it's a surprise! Jason Momoa, who literally looks and sounds like Lobo. We also have some interesting updates on season 4 of Ted Lasso from the creator. I'm going to go into a little bit of a deep dive of the best and worst superhero comic book movies and TV shows of 2024, since we are coming to an end of the year in just a couple days, and a few more tidbits on today's show. Let's start the show. Welcome back to the Geek Gospel. I'm Evan Bernstein. Happy Monday, everyone. Hope you guys had a good weekend. I know, these weeks are kind of crazy. It's Christmas Eve the week before, then New Year's Eve the week after. So some people have off, some people have some days off, and some days not off. So hopefully this gives you some respite from, even if you're having respite, but at least you get to go over some news coming out, and I am excited to go over it with you. Unfortunately, Chris will not be able to join us today, but hopefully he will be joining us later in the week. We will see how the holiday festivities continue. Before we get into anything, just wanted to go over what I have been watching. I have watched a few things recently, one of which is the show The Day of the Jackal. And this is on Peacock. Do have to say, Peacock streaming is terrible. It's so spotty. So that was not a fun part. But overall, the show is fantastic. I really loved it. And this is someone that was coming from not the original, but the Jackal with Bruce Willis and Richard Gere. As a kid, I loved that movie for some reason. I just thought it was like kind of weird and fascinating. And so I was curious to see this movie, especially when the trailer came out. Eddie Redmayne, he is a weird and fascinating looking person. So I thought that was a great casting to play the Jackal. And Lashana Lynch, who is the officer that is after him. I love a good cat and mouse kind of show. And this had a lot of depth to it. Eddie Redmayne, he's an Oscar winner for a reason. You even have Chukwudi Iwuji, who is from Peacemaker and Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He was really good in it. The storytelling was great, and I love the way that it ended off. Perfect for season 2, which was already announced, I think, only a few episodes into the series airing. So I can't recommend it enough. The Day of the Jackal on Peacock. It is fantastic. I really loved it. Other than that, we did watch a movie recently. We saw Speak No Evil, which is also streaming on Peacock. And this stars James McAvoy, Mackenzie Davis, Scoot McNairy, amongst others. And I really liked it. This is exactly what a psychological thriller should be. Something that keeps you guessing, keeps you yelling at the screen for the stupid decisions that the main characters make because they just don't get out of there, even when things are extremely off and you definitely, if you were a sane person, would get the hell out of there right away. So the fact that it keeps you having to yell at the screen, like, get the hell out of there, like, what are you doing? It really grabbed the attention of my wife and and I really enjoyed it. I mean, James McAvoy, he's so good at being like very like gregarious and outgoing, mixed with like subtle like aggression undertones that kind of make you feel uncomfortable. He's really good at like mixing that. I mean, we saw it with Split, how versatile he is with all the different personalities he can make. Like, he is insanely talented. So I think he was primed for this role, especially because he is the movie and he is creepy. And I really loved it. I mean, it wasn't, is it the best movie I've ever seen? No, but is it a great movie for like a Friday night, a Saturday night at home, something that like grabs you in and keeps you entertained throughout? Yes, 100%. So I would recommend it to take a look. That is Speak No Evil on Peacock. Now on to something not so great. We finished the season 3 of What If. And I've seen a lot of the discourse around the internets, and unfortunately, I have to agree that this show is a huge miss. Absolutely terrible from start to finish. Like, I do want to give some credit to some of the episodes in the first season. I mean, you had What If the World Lost Its Mightiest Heroes, where Hank Pym is killing all the Avengers. And you had the Dark Doctor Strange one, and the What If Ultron one, the Infinity Ultron. And you put together the Guardians of the Multiverse. And that was cool. And then it got weird in season 2. Happy Hogan, Saving Christmas, all this BS. Really good Kohori episode about this Native American superhero. Fantastic episode, actually. And then kept not doing what we wanted from this. And season 3 was just, it seems like they just gave up. It seems like, I don't know. I like Peggy Carter. I want to put that out there. Like, I am a fan of Captain Carter, and I love Peggy and Steve's relationship. So I don't want to yuck on that yum, but I don't believe she is the greatest, most important hero of the multiverse. And so to like pivot her in a way that like she is the star of this series is very weird to me, that you would make that decision and just go with it. Can 100% go with it. It was not the right decision, and I have not seen anyone that is like this show. I've seen a lot of people actually giving up on it. I don't know too many people that have actually proceeded with finishing it. And man, it was really disappointing. There was some parts that I liked, having Storm in it. I don't know why you would do a variant Storm of Thor, like when we're still kind of getting used to introducing X-Men to the MCU. Just seemed kind of like a weird decision. Howard Duck and Darcy having a kid, like just like wacko decisions like that you should not do. And the strongest part about it were really about the Watcher himself, played by Jeffrey Wright, Uatu. That was like very compelling, like his role as a Watcher and not being able to sit back and just watch, but like actually care about these people. And then, the Council of Watchers, like being upset with him interfering. And there's a lot of things that you could have worked with, but you're like pigeonholing like Captain Carter to be like the savior, and Howard the Duck has a fucking kid, and it's just like off the walls weird. And I was going to wait until we went into like the good and bad superhero TV shows and shows of 2024. But this is just like fresh in my mind of what I just finished. And it was terrible. It was really bad. And I feel bad because, there's writers, producers, animators, voice actors. A lot of work goes into the show. And so I hate shitting on a show that someone put a lot of love and dedication into, but I have to call a spade, and it just wasn't good. So very unfortunate. But yeah, wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Huge waste of time. Way more things that you could see. Other than that, I got to show my wife The Greatest Showman. Finally, she'd never seen it. She's not a musical person. She absolutely loved it. The Greatest Showman, the songs are so good. And the best part about the movie, and if you haven't seen it, this is with Hugh Jackman. It's about P.T. Barnum starting the circus and in the late 1800s. And Michelle Williams is in it, Zac Efron, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. A lot of good people, a lot of great actors. And so if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend it. The weird thing about this is when it came out, this thing opening weekend made ass. On opening weekend, The Greatest Showman, it made what did it make? Opening weekend, US and Canada made 8 million. Opening weekend. Box office bomb. It got word of mouth how good it was and ended with 469 million worldwide. That is insane. To go from that low to that high, that means the movie has to be somewhat good, that people really like it. So I just thought that tidbit was crazy. I haven't seen that happen with any other movie before. So I showed my wife it. She loved it. She loved that the fact that the songs push the story forward. They push the narrative forward. They're not just singing for the sake of singing, but they're actually representations of what these characters are feeling in the moment, expressed in song form. And I think that is the best way to do a musical. Don't just sing just for the sake of singing, but push the narrative forward, tell the story through song. That is what makes a musical great. And I think The Greatest Showman does it in spades. So love that. Like, I can't speak enough about it. Definitely see The Greatest Showman. It's streaming on Disney Plus right now. That's all I can think about for what I've been watching. I tried to get into the first episode of Squid Game. I just haven't had time. I couldn't finish it. So I'm really excited to get into that. I really want to see the Sonic movies before I have to go back to work next Monday. So those are the things that I'm trying to get into. And so hopefully I'll see those soon. Let's get into some news, okay? This is the quest for news. Okay, so I want to start off some news before I get into the best and worst of the comic book movies. So this news comes to us from Screen Rant. And this is some news about Ted Lasso Season 4. And it comes to us directly from the co-creator. So I was really excited. Bill Lawrence, who's also from Shrinking fame and a crap load of other shows. Scrubs, Just Shoot Me. It seems like every decade he has a hit show. And he was sitting down for an interview with the Los Angeles Times and gave us some insight into Season 4 of Ted Lasso, which he describes as a self-reboot and doesn't dispute that it is happening. And this comes to us directly from Bill Lawrence in this Los Angeles Times interview. He says, "I'm always very careful to make sure it never comes out of my mouth like it's my show, because I'm so proud to be a part of it. But Jason's the guy driving the wheel on that. But the one thing that he was always very clear about, without divulging anything, is that the story that we came up with for the first 3 seasons was Ted Lasso. And it had a beginning, a middle, and end. Without a doubt, it had an end. You saw him jumping around and go home. It helped cement my thoughts, and I don't want to speak for him, but it'd be interesting to see that there's always another story to tell with characters that people like. But it's a different story. It's almost a self-reboot. I think that he, Jason, always had in his head another story he wanted to tell." So what can this mean for Ted Lasso 4? The series, just like Shrinking, was conceived as a story with 3 parts. By the time Ted Lasso finale premiered, Ted's story came to a close and he returned to the US to be with his family. Lawrence's comments could mean that, as speculated, Sudeikis on screen as Coach Lasso takes a backseat as season 4 focuses on women's soccer, the other characters, Jamie, Roy Kent, you have the coaches. So there's a lot of other characters that this could focus on to continue the story. It also means that the focus on the Central AFC Richmond team continues, but Ted Lasso will not be the focal point of that anymore. And so we saw even at the end with the book written, and it said Ted Lasso gave his opinion on the book. The original title, The Lasso Way. He crossed it out and said, I think you should rename the title. This story was never about me. And then you see in the end, it says The Richmond Way. and it was really beautiful. And so is that a tease to what the name could be if it's not Ted Lasso? If this is a, what do you call it? A self reboot. We could be getting a different name. And so it's very interesting, but it seems like it's definitely coming. Bill Lawrence is not denying that. His remarks also underline the show's next chapter won't be a straightforward continuation of what came before, but a new idea instead. So, my take on it, I think you can't do the show without Jason Sudeikis in some capacity. I think what the show can do is focus on these great side characters, Rebecca, there's the Beard and Kent and Nate, the traitor who came back into our hearts, kind of. There's all these great side characters. And so I think to focus on these characters and give them some time to breathe would be really great for the story. However, I think doing the whole thing without Ted Lasso is a huge mistake. I feel like there will be a piece missing, and being on like an iPad and chiming in sometimes doesn't count. I think it'd be really interesting if at the end of this he came back and he moved his family there, and season 5 is about what it's like with him uprooting his family for him to be in England to be with the team. So I like the idea of focusing on the side characters, having a self reboot for the majority of the season. But personally, I need Ted Lasso back in my life. I need that ray of sunshine. I'm getting it with a little bit of shrinking, but shrinking is, pulls on your heartstrings a lot harder. So personally, I think you need Ted Lasso back in some capacity. It doesn't need to be right away, but it does need to be at some point. So that's my opinions. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and hopefully we'll get some more tidbits coming out soon about Ted Lasso season 4. Okay, with that down, we have some breaking news this morning, some superhero news. This comes to us from Deadline. Excuse me. Deadline is reporting Jason Momoa will play Lobo in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Jason Momoa, star of Warner Brothers and DC's Aquaman films, has been tapped to play Lobo in Superman and Woman Tomorrow, Deadline has confirmed. Momoa has been linked to the Lobo role since before James Gunn came in to lead DC alongside Peter Safran. He's been vocal in the past about his interest in the part, and today confirmed his attachment to the role in a post on Instagram where he screenshotted comments from his past interview. In his past interview, he said, "I collect comics, and I don't do so much anymore, but it was always my favorite, and I always wanted to play Lobo because I'm like, hello, it's a perfect role," said the actor. Momoa went on to say that should DC come around asking him to play Lobo, it would be a fuck yeah. Or I'll try to do it in Jason Momoa accent. Fuck yeah, bro. Alongside the Instagram screenshot, Momoa posted a caption this morning that reads, "They called." For those of you that do not know, Lobo is an anti-hero known for his violent and irreverent personality who hails from the planet Zarnia. Lobo possesses superhuman strength, regenerative abilities, and invulnerability that makes him a formidable opponent. Think of like a little bit Deadpool, a little bit more bro, Jason Momoa bro. Deadpool mixed with Jason Momoa, pretty much. Don't come after me, comic book nerds. Just giving people an idea of like what to expect. And so yeah, I'm really excited. And so as previously reported, Millie Adcock from House of Dragon will lead the role of Kara, and Matthias Schoenaerts is boarding as the villain Krem of the Yellow Hill. And more recently, Eve Ridley came on to play the part of Ruthie Mary Knoll. I don't know who that is. Craig Gillespie will direct from a script from Anna Nagora. The project is based on Tom King's 2022 comic book series, Supergirl, the Woman of Tomorrow. So, and this looks like a more darker, more adult series. We all knew this was coming. This is not a surprise. I don't see anyone else that could play this role. This is perfect for him. And when you look at this photo, who else could play this role? It looks like Jason Momoa. Sounds like Jason Momoa. And if it squawks and sounds like Jason Momoa, then it better be Jason Momoa playing it. So I'm really excited. James Gunn is really excited. He's been posting about it all morning. He posted Momoa's quote and then said, "Welcome to the DCU, Jason Momoa, pride of gypsies, hashtag Lobo, hashtag Supergirl." And then posted a badass photo that I will screenshot and show to you guys right here of Lobo with the American flag. So very excited. Can't say much more about it other than this is a great casting. Makes me more excited about Supergirl. I might be more excited. I don't know. I mean, Supergirl, Superman, Creature Commandos, you have all these things coming at one time that are building the universe. So I think I'm equally as excited for Supergirl as I am Superman at this point. And this makes me very excited. I mean, Momoa, I wouldn't say classes up the joint. I would say that he parties up the joint. He makes it like fun. You know what I mean? And having this crazy character played by Momoa, who's been dying to play this role, way better casting than him as Aquaman. I that did not fit at all for me, and I did not love those movies. The first one was okay. The second one was terrible. Very CGI feel, very garbage. This, however, I think this is where it lands, and if it's a hit with the fans, best believe we get a Lobo TV series. Or, I don't know. I was gonna say Lobo movie, but Lobo series on HBO Max, hell yeah, count me in. Or as Momoa said, fuck yeah. So I'm excited for this. I can't wait to see Jason Momoa. I can't wait to see a trailer, or even an image of Supergirl. I want this. I love that this is going to be a very different tone than Superman. Kara Zor-El is a very different character than Kal-El. So I'm very excited to see what this movie is going to look like and how Lobo can fit into this movie. So can't wait for it. Can't wait for the movie and some more tidbits coming out. Love them tidbits. And let me know what you think in the comments below. All right. With that down, I want to move on to this. So this trailer dropped a few days ago. This comes us from the Hollywood Reporter. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man trailer has dropped. Peter Parker's origin story finds him teaming up with a surprising new mentor. The official logline describes the show as an animated series that follows Peter Parker on his way to become a hero, with a journey unlike we've ever seen and a style that celebrates the character's early comic book roots. And as you can see from these photos, very comic booky. And if you take a look at the trailer, I liked it. I think it might be geared a little bit towards kids. Nothing wrong with that. I think a kid growing up should always have an animated Spider-Man that they can grow up with. And I grew up with what was it? The Spider-Man animated series. I don't know if that's what it's called. I feel like all the ones in the 90s were called that. And then I know others grew up with their own animated Spider-Man that's like that's near and dear to their heart. And so I think Spider-Man the animated series, 94 to 98. That was mine. Spider-Man 2017 to 20. I know that was a lot of people's, and that character was even in Spider-Verse. The Amazing Spider-Man 1977 to 79. Spider-Man 1967 to 70. There's always been an animated Spider-Man. And so I love that this is kind of continuing the tradition. I think the story looks really cool. This looks like Norman Osborn, voiced by the amazing Coleman Domingo. who is going to be an awesome mentor to Peter Parker. He's also Green Goblin, which is, as we know, Spider-Man's greatest nemesis. He even tells Peter in the trailer, with my help, you'll achieve greatness. And then you see Norman gives Peter a much improved Spidey suit, which is a huge departure from Tony Stark being that mentor and giving him the upgraded suit. So I love that they're playing with the lore here, and I love, you know, this two sides of the same coin with Peter and Norman. I love that, and I love that they're playing with it. So I'm really excited about it. I think the animation looks interesting, and I love that comic booky vibe. I have no qualms with this. I'm excited. If you haven't seen it, check out the trailer for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I can't wait to check it out. This comes out January 29th on Disney Plus from the Marvel Animation Studios. Hopefully they can do better than What If. Fingers crossed. Hopefully it's more on the X-Men 97 side than the What If shitty side. So we'll stay tuned. Let me know what you think down below. Okay. With that out of the way, I wanted to get into this. So we didn't have too much news. If there's anything you don't think I covered, let me know in the comments. But I really want to talk about this because we are about to end 2024 in 2 days. And there has been a ton of comic book movies and comic book television series. This is my opinion. Everyone has their own opinion. Everyone has things that they like, that people hate, that they hate, that people love. This is just my opinions, but I want to go down this list real quick. Let's talk about the shitty. Let's get this out of the way. So, man, I want to do this all in one fell swoop because I don't want to focus on negative things. I want to focus on things that I love. But there was a lot of crap. So I want to just go down the list. Might post a picture, I might not. I don't know if it's worth it. Here we go. Madam Web came out 2024, the beginning. Terrible. We watched it on Netflix. Terrible. The Crow. Awful reviews. Heard this was terrible from friends. Not even going to watch it. Watch the original. Kraven the Hunter. Disappointing. Very disappointing. Could have been great. Not great at all. Not good at all. Still love Aaron Taylor Johnson. Still love J.C. Chander. Hellboy the Crooked Man. I have not seen this. I have heard that this is more of a B movie. And so I'm still curious. I'll check it out at some point, but it went straight to streaming, and that's not a good sign. So I hear it does go into more of the horror roots and more comic book accurate. But I love those Guillermo movies. I will check it out, but not great. Joker Folly Adieu. When we started this show, I did my first out of theater reaction. I saw it the Monday before it came out. It was the most views that we've gotten out of the history of the Geek Gospel. This is the worst movie of the year, in my opinion. More than Madam Web, because I didn't love the first one, but I appreciate the first one. And I know a lot of people love the first one. I thought getting Lady Gaga, making it a musical, doing something different, still Oscar geared, you know what I mean? Still prestige, polished, and gritty at the same time. Great concept. Executed terribly, where it felt like Todd Phillips was doing it on purpose. Like a fuck you to the studio for forcing a sequel and then shit it all over their money. Even in the review I did, first part I'm like, this is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Second half I was like, this is the worst piece of crap I've ever seen. There's no point of this movie at all. Absolutely terrible. Okay. What else? I think that's it for how I want to shit on the stuff that came before. Let's talk about some great things, okay? And to wash that taste out of your mouth, I want to talk about this. So, something very unexpected that I loved, Agatha All Along. The follow-up to the hit series WandaVision on Disney Plus had a lot to live up to. Kathryn Hahn as Agatha Harkness was one of the best parts of WandaVision. However, I wasn't sure if she could lead her own show. I mean, I know Kathryn can. She's fucking incredible. But the character, the whole show built around her, Halloween vibes. When the shows that have come out on Disney Plus since WandaVision have not been great. I was very weary. On top of that, you're coming out the same time as Penguin, which is killing it, which I'll get to in a second. This show was incredible. A worthy sequel to WandaVision, spin-off sequel, whatever you want to call it. Had us in trance week to week. It gave us that WandaVision discussion again with the theorizing, the conversations with your friends, the water cooler talk, everything you love about shows. This gave you in spades. And on top of that, stuck the landing, which a lot of good shows on Disney Plus do not do. So I can't recommend this enough. Agatha All Along, one of the best surprises of 2024. I loved it. Joe Locke as Wiccan was fucking great. Patti LuPone, Aubrey Plaza. I mean, the cast was stellar. It kept you on the edge of your seat, wanting to know the mystery, wanting to get through it. It was funny. It was dark. It was crazy. It was everything that you could ask for in a Marvel series, and I absolutely loved it. So, great surprise. On top of that, The Boys season 4. One of the best seasons, in my opinion. I've seen a lot of people say, it's the same tropes, it fell off, this, that. And I get that. It's not easy to be great for 4 seasons, but it gave us an insane amount of great moments. And it left me wanting to get to the 5th season to finish this story that it started 4 seasons ago. And there was so many good episodes. I mean, the one where Homelander goes to the underground facility where they fucking tortured him as a kid. They raised him and tortured him as a kid. That was one of the best episodes of television of the year. Hands down. Creepy, shocking, scary. It gave us these great episodes. The season finale, the fucking laser goats flying in the sky. Like, it was just bonkers, The Boys style. I don't think it skipped a beat. I think it pushed the story forward for a lot of the characters. It pushed them forward in the sense that we got closer to completing this saga. And so I love The Boys season 4. I am going to be very sad when the show ends. I love how it flipped the script on what comic book shows can be, or what even movies could be, and it did it in spades. The cast is insane. The fact that Homelander, Anthony Starr, has not been nominated for Homelander is insane to me. It's one of the best acting jobs in the game. Like, I don't understand it. Up there with the Penguin. It's incredible. So it's a shame, but it needs to be talked about more. The Boys, season 4 on Amazon Prime. Please check it out. Fan-fucking-tastic. You fucking cunt. Had to put some butcher in there. Kids, cover your ears. It's too late. On top of that, something new that came out not too long ago, Creature Commandos. Hell of a year for comic books. shows and movies. Creature Commandos just puts the cherry on top of the cake in the sense that, one, great animated series, dark, in the vein of Invincible, storytelling wise, but with that James Gunn flair. I really love it. Gives you the insight into what his DCU is going to look like. I'm having a good time. I'm in it to win it. Now I'm in it, and yeah, I really like it. I think that I wish the episodes were longer, but that's a good thing. If you're wanting more of a show, that means you like it. So I am really enjoying Creature Commandos. It's bonkers, but you have these very personal episodes that focus on specific characters like GI Robot and Weasel, and Dr. Phosphorus is coming up this week, which I'm really excited about, played by the great Alan Tudyk. And you had a Frankenstein, David Harbour episode. So they're giving us these inside episodes of these characters because we're going to see them in live action. And when we see them in live action, those of us that watch the show, at least, we're going to care a lot more because we know about their background. We know what came before, their struggles, their story, and it makes it more personable. And so it's a very interesting way to introduce this. It's very James Gunn way because he thinks outside the box, and that's what I love about him. So Creature Commandos, one of my favorites of this year, and I'm really enjoying it. I can't wait to see it end. We only got 2 more episodes, I believe. However, I did mention Invincible, and Invincible Season 2 Part 4 did come out in March 2024. I loved it. It was so slow the first half. We waited so long for Season 2, over 2 years. So I was extremely pissed, as a lot of fans were, that we had to split up the episode and wait longer. Yeah, we went from November 2024, 2023 for part 1 of Season 2 to March 14th, 2024. However, I thoroughly enjoyed part 2. I think it was definitely got back on track in a lot of way, and it left me very excited for Season 3, which is coming out in February. So I think they've learned the lesson of not taking too long, and that makes me excited. So Invincible Season 2 Part 2 came out in March. I really liked it. Yeah, so that's up there for me. I really enjoyed it. I love that show. Season 1 was incredible. Season 2 had some misses, but I think the story's still there, and I think Season 3 we're going to be in for a great treat. So I'm excited for the future of that. Okay. I want to get into my top 3 favorites. Not in any particular order, because they're just so amazing in so many different ways. But I'm going to wax poetic about X-Men 97 first. X-Men 97 was the biggest anticipation for us geeks. I am a 90s kid. I grew up on the X-Men animated series. This is how I learned about X-Men. This is why I started collecting comic books. This is why I started collecting X-Men comic books. This, to me, was fan-fucking-tastic. The storyline of X-Men 97, the storylines, because there's a lot, it grabbed you in a way that no show has grabbed me before, whether it's animated or live action. I was obsessed with this show. Every episode, and I'm going to go down to some that I loved. Mutant Liberation Begins. This was when Magneto was on trial by the UN. Fantastic. Remember It. At Genosha, there is a bombing. Incredible. Bright Eyes with is very rogue centric. It was fantastic. And then you have Tolerance's Extinction Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. What I love about this series is it doesn't feel like it skips a beat from the original series, it actually feels like they improved it. And that is very rare to do when you have such a strong fan base of such an iconic TV series. I mean, that theme song. Dun, 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 dun. Had to put that in there. It's just so iconic to what X-Men and mutants are. And the fact that it had all that nostalgia from the original series, but was able to like elevate it even more. It was incredible. This is one of my favorite series of all time. It is a representation of how you should do X-Men in live action. I'm not saying exactly like this, but I'm saying like you should take beats, because what they're able to do in like a 30-minute episode is unheard of. And this, I can't speak highly enough. I know there's a lot of drama with Bo DeMeo. He's not going to be there for season 2 and 3, which is unfortunate because he had a big part in the fantastic writing. But that's to, we'll leave that to us actually seeing it for ourselves before we can judge it. Because right now, bask in the glory of season 1 of X-Men 97. Is it going to be called X-Men 98 since we're going to the next year? I don't know, but I love the homage of like, this is where it would have left off. This is where it would have continued if the story continued into 1997 when I was 8 years old, primed for X-Men. And wow, I can't say enough. What an incredible series. Every character had their due. Everyone had a storyline that mattered. And I cannot wait for season 2. On to the next. I think this is a good segue. Deadpool and Wolverine. Wow. Box office juggernaut. When you pair Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, arguably the best part of the Fox X-Men movies, and Deadpool, who is part of the Fox X-Men movies, but kind of like an outlier, but the best as well, into one movie, you get box office gold if done right. And Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman did it right. I love this movie. My wife and I put it on all the time. There's so many lines that we quote. We even we're doing the one right now. But I bet she thought it, which I bet she's laughing in the room right now because she can hear me. If you know, you know. But I love this movie. This is exactly what we wanted from a team up. He gave us the juice. He gave us the fights between them. He gave us the heart. The line that that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine had in the Honda Odyssey, but it's on all of us, like it's just, they always talk shit about the member berries, the cameo porn, it's not cinema, all this stuff, but they don't treat it like that. Hugh Jackman is a world-class actor. He doesn't treat it like a comic book movie. He treats this like he's about to win some awards. And when you see his eyes tearing up and the heart and the soul that he gives into this role, it's incredible. And then on top of that, you had Logan, which is so perfect. And so you're like, are they going to fuck it up? Are they going to fuck it up? No, they don't. And on top of that, they make a joke about fucking up and dig his ass out of the grave from Logan. And it still works. It's so good. And then you have the Madonna song. Like, man, this is one of my favorite movies, I think, of superhero movies. This has solidified Deadpool as probably one of the best comic book trilogies of all time, up there with The Dark Knight, up there with hopefully Spider-Verse. We'll see if they get their shit together. But man, I can't say enough about this movie. Deadpool and Wolverine was fantastic. Saw it multiple times in the theaters. This is a movie that you go out and see multiple times in the theaters with different friends and you get different experiences, but they're all great. This is what going to the movies is about. And that is what they wanted. They wanted to people to fucking laugh their asses off and have a good time in the theater together. And then at home when it's on Disney Plus, that's exactly what happened. And for those that say, it's all about the cameos, blah, 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 that's on you. And that's your opinion. And that's great. But for me, I didn't think the cameos took away from the main story. I thought they enhanced the main story. I thought making this story a goodbye to the Fox universe that I grew up with. I was like 11, 12 years old when the first X-Men came out. I saw Blade in theaters in 9 years old. My uncle took me when I visited him in LA, which he probably shouldn't have, with the fucking blood out the sprinklers and shit. But he gave honor to Blade starting this universe. He gave honor to Elektra, a female lead in a Marvel movie that people don't talk about a lot because the movie was ass. But that shit mattered to some people. And then Gambit, who we wanted to see and who Channing championed this person for so long. It was incredible. It was incredible. Everyone got their due. And so, man, I loved it. And so I want to move on to this. The last thing that I loved. And I hope I didn't miss any, but I think we covered a lot. The Penguin. The Penguin on Max. HBO Max. I'm going to say HBO Max. This is an HBO production. Wow. 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 It fucking sucks that Batman 2 is delayed. It's awful. But this show, The Penguin, is incredible. And if we can get a season 2 before the Batman 2, I would be so fucking happy. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you need to fill in the gaps. And this already did that. And then it kind of got screwed with the delay because it was filling in the gap from 2022's Batman to Batman 2, which now comes out in 2027. Originally 2026, so we'd only have a couple years between this and that. This show is the best representation of adapting a comic book and making it feel real, making it feel like it matters, making it feel like cinema. I thought they did that in spades when it came to Daredevil. I thought, wow, this is the best representation of how you can adapt a comic book and make it feel real. But then The Penguin took it to the next level. And a big part of that is the characters and the acting that told the great script. Of course, great script always. But Colin Farrell as Oz was fucking incredible. You couldn't even tell it was him at times. Most times, it felt like a real character. And it kept reminding you, this is a villain. This is someone that you're not supposed to revere. This is someone that is a fucking piece of shit that you are not supposed to like. And time again, every time we thought, wow, like, I understand why. Like, I'm really loving the main character. It would remind you and flip it. This person is the fucking devil. And this is not someone you should champion. This is someone that's fascinating to watch, but this is not a good human being. And that leads into Renzi Felice, who played Vic, his right-hand man, his Jesse, to his Heisenberg, if you will. Fantastic. We theorized, is he this character? Is he that character? Turns out he's fucking dead. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen The Penguin. If you haven't, I don't know what you're doing. This show is fantastic. But Renzi Felice, who I knew from The Runaways, Marvel's The Runaways, which was a canceled show after 2 seasons. He is an insanely good actor. His arc in this was so good. He does not get enough credit. Should have got nominated as well. And I can't wait to see what he does next. Renzi Felice, hats off to you, man, because you crushed this role and you put your name on the map. People are going to hire you because what you did in this role was incredible. And the Penguin was already so good. It was my favorite part of the Batman. In this, he's fucking great. But the fact that he got to play off of Renzi Felice's Vic it elevated the Penguin more. And to be able to do that, to elevate the main character even more, you have to be a great actor. And, the actor that played Jesse in Breaking Bad, he got all those awards because he elevated Bryan Cranston even further. And that is what I mean by what he did for the main character. And Renzi Felice, fantastic. Now, on to another great actress. Kristen, or another great actor. Renzi Felice is not an actress, but another great actor. Kristen Milotti as Sophia Falcone. Wow. I love Kristen Milotti. I've seen her in mainly comedies. I loved her in Fargo and Palm Springs is really good, and we watched The Resort on Peacock and Made for Love on HBO Max. She's done so many great comedies. This is not a comedy. This is a killer of a role. No pun intended. Pun intended. Yes. Wow. What you think an actor can do when they're only given certain roles, and then they surprise you when they're given the chance to actually show you what they got. She had a role in Wolf of Wall Street. I don't even really remember it. He leaves that wife for Margot Robbie. Well, I'm fucking remembering this because Sophia Falcone was one of the best parts of this. The episode of her in Arkham was incredible. I think she should win for that episode alone. This girl is one of the best in the game, hands down. She can do anything. Comedy, she can sing, she can dance, she can act her ass off. What she did as Sophia Falcone, and the fact that, one, she did not die. Two, she's related to Catwoman. And three, she's back in Arkham, who I think we will see a lot of Arkham in the future. It's such a character in its own right. This character is not done being seen. And it's just incredible. What Nolan did with the Grounded Dark Knight trilogy, this was completely... I didn't think it could be elevated anymore. The realism, at least. This feels like an HBO show to the max, I should say. Stupid puns. Sopranos, 100%. Breaking Bad, 100%. But its own thing, 100%. Because as much as you feel for Heisenberg and for Tony Soprano, Oz is terrible. Even though circumstances were hard for him, he's a monster. He is a monster. He is selfish, and he will do anything to win. And how they showed it in this series is fantastic. I can't speak enough about it. It's my favorite DC villain behind Heath Ledger, hands down. Watch the series. Find out for yourself. If you listen to this, I spoiled some shit for you, but as you watch it, it won't matter. It won't matter. So, I think that's going to conclude it for this year's comic book movies and TV shows. We got a lot of great things. We got a lot of stinkers, but this is why I love this stuff. This is why Chris loves this stuff. Why Brian loves it. And I can't wait to see what 2025 brings. So, wow. We did it. I talked for over an hour. The voice is hurting, brother. But so many good stuff. I can't believe we're at the end of 2024. It always starts slow and finishes fast. And then we're there. So if I don't see you before then, I want to wish all my Geek Gospel peeps a very, very happy new year. I wish you a fantastic and blessed 2025. I can't wait to continue this in 2025. I love doing this. I love talking to you guys. I hope you comment more because I want you to be part of the conversation. I want to geek out with you. And yeah, have a great new year. Be safe. Have fun. Enjoy it. relax. If you're off work, take a load off. If you have work, I'm sorry, drink a little. If you don't drink, relax a little and put something on and geek out. Or watch this and geek out with me. That'll do it for today's show. This is the Geek Gospel. I'm Evan Bernstein. Tune in next time and have a great new year. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.